That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
Articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Ooh, terrible. Bad, not bad. Oh, pretty good. Okay, decent, fair, great. I loved it. Go
This sucks.
Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. We are back after a weekend full of shenanigans and good stuff and bad stuff, and we're going to cover all that. Oh, it's the turd. Oh, by the way, I did have to point out our efforts are thinking. You remember we were having that discussion? Maybe we should put ourselves up on Rumble. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're like, yeah, just have an alternative spot because these fuckers at, YouTube, you never know what they're going to do. And I guess they're trying to ban Rumble because of brand in England.
No, England passively, aggressively, but not so passively, came out and said, "Hey, Rumble, maybe you should demonetize brand just like YouTube did."
Yeah,
probably what's best for you.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is,
it would be a shame if some legal charges came up against you.
It's what's weird is there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on Rumble who shows on Rumble. So you're going to ban the whole channel because of one dude? Like, I can't believe that you're so focused on this one dude that everybody else is going to have to be punished with him by banning Rumble in England. I think it would be just England, but
I just watched the Russell Brand video as far as this topic, and the woman who sent out the letter is a member of parliament or something like that.
Right.
And her husband originally was part of like some 77th regiment that worked in psychology warfare. Right.
No, it's all funky and fishy as shit. And they're a bunch of elites. And again, they're trying to make a decision for the rest of us. For somebody who's not been charged with anything. These are accusations. Are they serious? Sure, they're fucking serious. But that's not what you do. You don't shut somebody down. There are people with fucking criminal records who have shows on YouTube. All right? People with criminal records. You're not going to find out about them. There's one guy that runs a dart throwing show here in the United States.
The government has a YouTube channel, if I recall correctly.
Listen, there are lots of people who are questionable past. This guy in particular was arrested and convicted of child molestation, and he has a fucking show on YouTube. And yet everybody in the darts community knows what he's done. And has he been banned by YouTube? No. And he's a convicted child molester. But Russell Brand, these are accusations. Are they serious? I said, yes, they are. But you can't ban somebody until something's actually been fucking factually proven. Right now, these sound like some of them pretty detailed stories. So that's kind of concerning. Of course, he has a long history of being a heavy drinker and drug user. And God knows, what he did in his past. I don't know. But we'll find out. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. But if we don't, you can't ban somebody for something you don't they may or may not have done. That's it. It's as simple as that. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. The turd in the background says, welcome back to the Straight Red Card. Gregg has spoken to Gio. They got dinner in Germany. I don't know about that. They got some hookers and hash things out with little hashish. Betty Crocker is a great sport. Yes, well, I mean, you got all the names right of the players involved in this. And, we don't even really know that they even hooked up for like a one-on-one Zoom call or anything like that. All the words is that they communicated with one another. And that could be through Braille. It could be through, light touching. We don't know what that means, communicated. Did Gregg?
What it was is there's a three-way text conversation going on between Betty, Gregg, and Gio. And Betty goes, "Hey, Gio, how I hear you're coming back the team. You're going to be playing soon. How you feeling? And Gio goes, I'm feeling great, Betty. And then Gregg gives him a thumbs up emoji.
You think so? Or do you think that Gregg just got CC'd in the email? He was just CC'd in there. Oh, wait, even better. He was BBC'd in it. BCC'd, right? He was blind carbon copied. And so since Gregg saw the communication between Betty and Gio, now they have been in communication, although not directly, indirect communication, but it's still communicated. Yeah, we don't really know the details of all that, but yeah, we'll talk about it more later and what that supposedly means and what Betty said. There are more details to the edit than that.
We got Turd goes, Brooks wasn't at the dinner.
No, I don't think Brooks skipped. But by the way, we will get into that. Brooks played a fucking fantastic game this weekend with one error, one mistake, which almost cost them a goal, but it was one. Did you watch it?
No.
Okay.
I saw some highlights and
that
type of stuff.
Yeah. Also, what's the deal with the pointy nail thing, Brett? Can you just inform me as an old geezer that I am? What's the deal with the chicks with the long, sharpened, pointed nails? What is that? Is that a threat? Is that like, wow, I'm going to fuck you up if you like disagree with me? I don't know, but you see it all over now in the Kroger's and in the Myers and in the stores in general. And I'm like, this is a trend. And I just saw
a video of a girl with like 3.5-inch nails.
Yeah.
Trying to like open up like a thing of Jell-O.
Good luck.
And it was like 3 minutes of her just to try to get it open and get the spoon in there.
Okay.
Dumb.
First of all, extra long nails like that, disgusting. Number one. Number two, fake nails in general, disgusting. Sorry, they are. They're just gross because they're fake. Like, that's the whole thing. None of you needs to be fake at all because you're beautiful the way you are. You don't need to have fake nails and those big, long fake eyelashes and all that shit you do. I mean, a little light makeup, maybe, but all that other stuff is just gross. It's fake to me, Brett, and I can't deal with it, and I don't even understand it. That's my big problem. Being an indie rocker who's always had girlfriends with minimal makeup dues, I don't get it. Can you explain?
You're always playing music in dark rooms. Who needs makeup at that point, right?
Well, no. I mean, I don't think most women realize how naturally beautiful they are. I think a little lipstick's fine, maybe a little this, a little that, but not like, look at me, I got big fake nails and everything. My big fake 10-foot eyelashes coming off. I mean, it just doesn't. It's
not
gross.
your stick. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, is it yours?
I'm in the same boat with you. No.
Okay. All right. Just want to know.
You see my wife? No, of course.
Am I losing it or what? By the way, Paul Little died with little fanfare. Paul F. Little. I'm assuming the F in his middle name stands for fuck, because Paul F. Little, if you don't know who he is, was Max Hardcore back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I guess. Porn director, kind of loathed by most porn people. He was not well liked. And then, of course, he was charged by the state of California for obscenity. He got out of that, and then later on was charged by the state of Florida for obscenity. Why? I don't know, because here's what his videos featured: fisting, urination, and sometimes vomiting, and sometimes women who said things like daddy. So I guess that made it seem like they were little girls or whatever. Well, they were clearly over the age of 18, and he proved that with all the information he had. And you can't, that's why I hate obscenity laws. If that's obscene, then fisting should be illegal. If it's not illegal, then what he filmed is not illegal either. It can't be deemed obscene. Is urination illegal? Urinating or urinating on others or drinking pee, is that illegal? I don't believe in any state any of that is illegal, last I checked. And thus you cannot. He spent 2 years in jail for featuring fisting, urination, and vomiting on his videos in Florida for obscenity. He broke obscenity laws. Spent 2 years in jail for that. Boy, he had a shitty lawyer. or
Yeah.
that should have gone up higher to a higher, power.
Excuse me,
Supreme
Judge.
Court.
Excuse me, Judge. This is art.
Well, I mean, it was art to
Exhibit
art to
A.
him.
Exhibit A. Here's Tiffany shitting on Sean's chest.
That wasn't even in his videos. He had no shitting in his videos. So they were just after his ass. Let's just put it that way. And
It could be one of those things where the state, I mean, Florida seems not like quite like the state, I guess, in that sense, but it could be one of those things where the state is trying to crack down on porn altogether. I would have imagined that'd be more like a Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi type of thing, or Texas for the matter. But
his home and his offices were raided twice by the FBI. That makes you start to think, all right, they got it out for this guy. And I don't know what he did except make some of the most obscene, if you will, videos in porn at the time, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That's his job. That was his goal as a director, was to make the most obscene stuff he could possibly get away with.
There's a lot wrong with vomiting and urination. So
there's a lot wrong with it, but there's nothing illegal about it.
Sure.
And that's why sending him to. There are people who do much worse things than he did, and he did them with people who consent, that get out of jail in months, weeks, for much more horrible shit than filming someone urinating on somebody else, or somebody else urinating in someone else's mouth, which I guess at this point is totally like not a big deal and passe, because that is completely like norm. It's normal now. You see that all the time in porn videos. So I guess that's okay now.
I don't know what porn you're watching, Derek. I don't think I don't think I've ever watched a porn video where insert random person's urinates over somebody else.
Dude, it's like
unless you're referring to squirting in that sense.
No, it's normal porn now. Has peen. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I'm into. Never been into.
I don't think it's normal. I don't think it's normal, Derek.
Okay. I'm just telling you, I could name the studios that have done that. All right. And I'm not going to do that.
I feel like you've gone into a lot of depth and research on this.
No, this is on common fucking sites like Pornhub and whatever. It's common.
How
all right.
Yes, I guess if they throw like
how often? Now I got it.
I was gonna say, how often do porn videos actually display the production company? But I guess most of them do.
They do, right?
Any actual production company does, yeah.
Right, they do. So, I mean, these are mainstream companies doing it now. All right, John.
I'll come back to it. I saw this one.
Maybe his film "Fuck Puppets" was offensive to marionettes. Could be. John Kavulich for $2. Thank you, brother. We do appreciate. Damn, Derek, I'm about to eat dinner. Well, I don't know. I guess I did mention vomiting. That's not good when you're about to eat dinner. I mean, surely fisting is, not inherently.
That wouldn't ruin your appetite.
It would not necessarily.
It might ruin your day, but.
Right. Well, you would know better than me. All right. Go, EB. Go, EB.
Only once a month, Derek. Come on.
All right.
I'm not that big of an expert.
All right. Okay. That's pretty much all I had for the day. Although I do think that on ESPN, their thing on the Roku, when you use them online to watch videos, where it's just a tab or a square or a what would you call that? A little TV thing where you can click on and just go to ESPN FC. And instead of scrolling back through all the past shows, because I missed Saturday's show. So I'm going to go back. But guess what? So I got the Sunday show, which was buried behind 4 other shows on demand. And then there were 18, 19, 22 fucking college soccer games that nobody cares about, by the way. Nobody cares about college soccer. You're good enough. You go to the academies and then you go pro, right? Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people do care about college soccer.
I think go to college and then they come back and maybe they're decent MLS journeymen. You never know.
No, they turn into good USL players.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Although that's changing too, because a number of USL teams are providing their own academy system now. Mm-hmm. Now, Indy 11 has signed this last year. Signed something like 6 academy players to their team.
Yeah,
like 4 or 6. I think it was 6.
So, I mean, I'm not saying college is completely useless at this point, but you're gonna find like the top 2 or 3, 4 college players, they're still going to be useful for the most part in the draft. I don't know why we need a draft for them, but okay, I'm supposed to cover this.
Yeah. We'll quickly go. I'll come back to the whole draft topic here in just a second. But yeah.
Even flow.
You're just always giving somebody a free space with that, Derek. Because that not only does I'm sure there's Derek Sings right here. This one, Derek Sings, and then I guarantee you, even flow's right there on the second one. Look at it, guys.
Even flow.
One or two guaranteed.
Butterflies.
If you want to challenge yourself, I say go 3 or maybe 4. Yeah.
Is urination on any of these?
Yeah, I didn't look for that.
Okay. Well, few people do. I'm not sure why that's become such a normal thing now in porn, but all right.
I think we'll get a couple of video clips from MLS. So, but I think there's a number of rules in MLS that they can at this point finally just write off.
Yes.
And say, hey, that was us in the past. There's no need for discovery claims.
Yeah.
There's no need for the reallocation or whatever the
yeah
list is.
Right.
When U.S. national team players come back to MLS.
Yeah.
Enough.
It's ridiculous. It's not needed.
We don't need. There doesn't need to be a super draft anymore at this point, guys.
Yeah.
I mean I'm sorry, but the big boy teams that are in the big markets can only sign so many players.
Right. Right. No,
that's about it.
And the whole gas of this is that, oh no, this is all done in the feeling and the spirit of keeping things as equal as possible in the league, building that parity in the league. Well, that's a joke. None of those things do that. So let's just get rid of them because it's all a lie. We all know who gets first dibs at the biggest player coming in the league. We all know who gets dibs on that. So let's not be full of shit about this.
Mm-hmm.
Just open up the field and let the teams do their things. Let them go out and do their own research, and whoever can pay more pays more, because most of these owners at this point can pay. They can afford it. So, all right. We've covered everything I wanted to bullshit about.
We've touched base on none of my fluff yet. So let me fluff, Derek. Come on.
All right. Okay.
We're trying to defluff my segment here.
You want to get fluffed or be fluffed?
No, I'm going to be doing the fluffing, Derek.
Oh, God. All right.
Pretty much sure all my fluff has to do with
soccer.
2 out of the 3 fluffs have to do with soccer.
But Brett, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
I'm going to slow this one down a little bit because this is only 3 seconds long.
It's a little meatloaf for those.
I miss what happens here. So, just typical soccer stuff.
Okay.
Este empate garantiu o título.
Nice header.
Tempo que o Flamengo tem.
Like a yard away from the guy, man.
Is that the manager?
Yeah. I don't know if it's his manager or not. But he totally got domed right there, man.
But it hit him in the real solid part of the skull, right?
Yeah, it was the forehead. Yeah, his neck. Absolutely.
Yeah. And his head doesn't get snapped back or anything, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
That's because his neck is all fused together at this point.
He's just a giant sausage, this guy, so he's going to be fine. Okay, you can stop that. That's just crazy annoying when you're... I mean, you hang out with Jenny Cush before the show, and then you got to deal with that during the show, and you're like, oh, my God. That's too much action for my ears. It's G-Shock. It's G-Shock. It's G-Shock. Oh, shut up.
Enough.
Please. Spare me.
Well, that was just the appetizer. Let's go into the main course here.
Oh, okay.
As a goalkeeper, I never really was one. But as a goalkeeper, you're taught, when you're going 1v1 against an attacker, to make yourself as big as possible, right?
Yeah.
You cut off the angle, and then I'm a big bear,
And
So I didn't
what's
write
the
it.
other thing? Wear a fucking cup. Wear a
No,
fucking
Derek,
cup.
that doesn't happen anymore, man. People are conscious about that, so they're never gonna happen. So
Goalkeepers don't wear cups.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they ever did, but that's just me. I don't know.
I mean, if you're gonna dangle them out there on a save, you better wear a fucking cup.
Es joven y se va a reponer, pero primero también hay que decir que en el primer disparo de Tapatío,
Oh my
es
god!
joven y se va a reponer, pero primero también hay que decir que en el primer disparo de Tapatío.
Wait a minute. At the end, he says tapatio, which means chicken in Spanish.
Well, yeah, I was going to make the comment here. One of the teams has the initials of TAP, just like his nutsack got tapped.
Oh my god! I was just thinking maybe they were referring to his little giblets, his little chicken. He got hit right in the little chicken. Yeah, that's direct hit. I mean, it's a little high. It probably got like mid shaft. Would be my guess.
Look at his face. He is ready for it too, man.
It's good. He's committed. But I'm thinking. I don't think it hit him in the nut sack, but it definitely hit a shaft and probably caused reverberations into the nutsack area. Certainly.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, that was a hard hit regardless, even if it didn't hit him in the nuts.
That's enough to give that dude Peyronie's disease.
All right, he's not thinking about it. He just made the save, like, oh, that kind of hurt. But then he's like, oh.
Yeah, he knows.
But you know what the weird thing is? Watch this. He makes a save. He goes down, of course, but he starts to get back up. It hasn't quite hit yet.
It doesn't hit immediately.
Oh, I got to get to that ball.
It doesn't hit you immediately. Take it from a guy that's been hitting the nuts by 135 mile per hour serve. All right.
He accepted fate.
It doesn't hit you for like at least 15 to 10 seconds. You know something's coming, but you're not quite sure. Tapatio is a city in Mexico. Okay, so Chuck, he's not saying tapateo, which is chicken, right? Okay. Dick save and beauty and a beauty. Nut stopper. I think it was more of a shaft stopper with like some intermediate damage to the nuts. I felt that fucker. You've been in. Oh, you know the goalie. Okay. Yep. He knows the goalie.
He's basically saying, don't worry, there wasn't a lot to hit.
He has felt it. Seth Floyd at $4.99. My fellas, is that what you call them? Just got my accounting homework done and writing a writing assignment. I think so far this season has been better than last year. Cheers, fellas. Hey, thanks, Seth. I guess you're talking about our show, and we appreciate that. We always try to get better. We always try to improve. No, we don't. We just do the same old thing. No, I mean, we talk about the show and things we could, add to it.
I think he's referring to this season abroad.
Really?
Yeah, we had such a mixed bag of shittery last season.
Okay, so I was being narcissistic there.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was about us, which is odd, us. So that's not really narcissistic, but
what was the singer that we were talking about? Just like Taylor Swift, right?
Oh, no, Miley Cyrus.
Oh, Miley Cyrus. I think you said Taylor Swift.
No, Miley Cyrus has a new song out where
that makes more sense now. I didn't really think that Taylor Swift was a condescending narcissistic cunt, like you said.
Oh, I'm sure she's got some sort of narcissism going. How could you not when you're the most popular female singer in the world? But at the same time, Miley Cyrus's new song was all about, I am sorry about all of my self-centered bullshit for so long, and it's cost me friendships, it's cost me relationships, blah, blah, blah. She's basically saying, yeah, I was a child. And there you go. And I wish I could change it, but I can't. I was referring to the U.S. men's national team abroad, man. So that's just making sure we know, hey, this show is not any better. It's just the same shit. Thanks, Seth. We appreciate it, though. We really do. Yeah, okay. And, it is odd because songs today are narcissistic. There's no doubt about that. They are very narcissistic. I mean, music in a lot of ways is a reflection of the people that write it and sing it, but it doesn't always have to be that way. I know a lot of music in the old days, especially, was never written in the first person. It was always about talking about the experience of somebody else. A good example would be Bob Dylan's Rolling Stone, right? That's all about this gal who had all these high-class friends and sort of abandoned her real friends and got into this big time society, and then they rejected her, right? And she got flung back to the small peoples on the side, and they didn't want anything to deal with her anymore because she had left them behind and forgotten them. And so now she had no friends at all. That's what that whole song's about.
That's when she started popping pills and shooting up, right?
Oh, how does it feel to be on your own? No direction home, like a rolling stone. Yeah, that's the whole song. It's a great song. All right, so don't be a narcissist. What else we got?
Derek, when I look at you, I see a connoisseur of fashion.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to get your take on these.
Look at that.
I'm thinking about purchasing a pair.
Okay.
But I wanted to see, would Derek own this?
Okay. A pair of assless chaps?
No, that's just a pair of jeans with some clear-cut butt cheeks.
So you could see your underwear, huh?
Well, I mean, if you're wearing a thong, probably cover it up.
And then yeah, but they look like women's. I don't think they'd fit you. I mean, even with your woman hips, I don't think these are going on. I mean, they're fine. I think I don't know. They look like they're normal size jeans, so it's possible that somebody that would fit in that would have a butt, and so having "so fine" written on top of them. But it is a bit much. Imagine farting in these, fogging them up. Farting. Oh, fart.
Yeah. They clearly misspelled it.
Yeah. I thought it might be something I didn't know about, some new thing, farting in them. P. Morton says, looks like a denim Spidey mask. Yeah, you could do that too.
Very similar thought process. Looks like an alien to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true too. A close-up of them certainly looks like an alien. Yeah. All right, that was good. They look 30 by 30. They'll fit. Some very attentive people out there. All right.
Okay. All right. Enough the shenaniganry. Let's get to actual soccer day.
All right. What do you got?
Well, I got some MLS topics. Starting off with some Saudi talk.
Okay. Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know I'll be drinking another Golden Drac today. All right. One of the best beers in the world. Look, go on Beer Advocate and look up the description of this beer, and you'll read it and go, that sounds fucking delicious. I want one. And yes, they're not cheap. I think for this 4-pack, it was like $22. But if you're only drinking them during a show, that's one a month, or excuse me, 4 times.
Oh, no, pack every 2 weeks.
That's true. It is. But I don't always splurge for the best and most expensive.
$44 a month. You're spending just about $500 on beer just for a show.
I know, because I was drinking Golden Monkey not long ago. What else? I have had various beers on here.
It's pronounced Brass Monkey.
No, that would be a totally different liquor, and there's a song about it by the Beastie Boys. Brass Monkey Funky, that monkey funky. Beep, beep,
Funky
beep.
Monkey.
Funky Monkey, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's also a strip club called the Brass Monkey, south side of Indy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I don't attend those. Zebito? All right.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna say that.
No. Yeah, don't get yourself in any trouble here.
Okay, seriously.
All right. Okay. All right.
Do I need to zoom in on this? Is this close enough for you?
One more. Boop. There we go. Sean Brooks. That's what will keep. Let's read the original.
Yeah.
Milan Posts. Rafael Leao to GQ. Saudi League proposals. For me, Champions League is worth more than the $10 million salary. Good for him.
Yep.
Good. He's a little bit of a selfish player, but good for him. So far, all the games I've watched, I've thought many times to myself, that was way too much. That was one dribble too much. Oh, that was one dribble too much. Oh, that was a couple dribbles.
Slightly better Rafika. What was the name?
Rafina?
No, the Bremen kid that came over with Sargent.
Oh, that dude. Yeah, that guy's the biggest fuck. They both went to Norwich together from Werder Bremen. Rashika, yeah. That guy's possibly the dumbest and most selfish player at the same time. Thank you, Chris Gary. And then that's what will keep any league like MLS or Saudi League from ever becoming the top 4 league. Yeah, well, definitely the Saudis. The only way we could become a top 4 league is if our domestic talent is so fabulous. It starts to match up with all the talent we are bringing from South America into MLS. And then that congeals into a top 4, 5, 6 league. But even then, that's still a pipe dream and a long way from happening.
I don't see that. I don't see that happening as a whole. Even if our domestic talent got to that level, that domestic talent for the most part would be shuttled off abroad.
The best of it would. What I'm saying is it'll be so deep. It'll be like Holland, right? Like Holland, the top group of Ajax, Feyenoord, PSV, AZ, those teams are always going to be at least competitive in the Champions League. Competitive. They're not going to win it, although we saw Ajax get really close not long ago, right? To winning the whole fucking thing. So they're going to remain competitive because of the domestic talent that they mix in with some foreign talent as well. Like that's the best anybody's going to be able to do, right? That's it. That's as good as anyone's going to get. Because
the big problem is going to be in that sense is that again you have Europe and you have the prestige of one being one of the top leagues around, but also on top of that you have the Champions League. And then on top of that, you have all of the Champions League, you have all the Europe, all those big European leagues playing against each other. Even if the domestic talent equaled South American talent and all that shit, who are we fucking playing?
Oh, I totally get it.
We're gonna be playing against minnows and CONCACAF, and then we go to the Club World Cup. At that point, you better hope that we start winning some of those because otherwise, there's no chance in hell.
In that case, you're absolutely right because Champions League, if you're one of the best players in the world, that is your goal, to play Champions League and win Champions League because that sets you aside from everybody else. And we are never going to have a domestic championship like that in our hemisphere that is worthy. I mean, you're talking about Cadillac versus like a small 1980s Fiat. That's the difference between Champions League in Europe and Champions League here in North America. So I agree with you. There's nothing tempting about that.
Yeah. I mean,
nothing tempting.
The only way to resolve that would be to have more competitions between North and South America. And then that could be something, but that'd be expensive.
That or MLS goes out and they fly to England or fly to UEFA and beg to be admitted into we want to play Champions League. Please let us in. Please let us have a couple teams in Champions League or one team. Just give us one team.
Think about the money.
Think about the money. Exactly. We'll pay you to let one of our teams into UEFA Champions League. Like that's the only way it's going to happen because otherwise FIFA's going to say no to that. So they're going to have to pay off FIFA too. Because FIFA's going to say, no, that's not how this works. But, all the East Coasters will be like, hey, man, we're a fucking hop, skip, and a jump to England. It's literally like a 2.5 hour flight over to England from New England. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
5 hour flight.
No, it's not. It's 3 hour flight, max. Check out your maps. I mean, you can't see it out of your back window, right? Like Sarah Palin could see Russia, apparently.
From New York to London, nonstop is 7 hours and 10 minutes.
No fuck. From where?
New York to London.
Nonstop. Well, they're doing something wrong because guess what? That's how long it takes me to fly to Germany. 7 hours. That makes little to no sense. Little to no sense.
No, it's don't look at maps. Maps are wrong as far as the size and everything like that. So,
well, I know if you look at a globe, it's all warped. I get it. Okay, that seems long to me. 7 hours.
Hold on.
That seems very long. How about we take the what were the super fast?
I can only go with what it says here. From New York to London, United Kingdom, all airports, 7 hours, 10 minutes.
Is that on a boat? Jesus Christ. That should not take that long. How about on the old, the super fast supersonic jets?
I don't know, the Concorde or whatever, since people
Yeah.
are mentioning Concords.
How fast was it on the Concorde? I think it was like 2 hours on the Concorde.
3 hours.
3.5 hours. That must be what stuck in my head. I'm sorry. Yep. That's what's stuck in my head. Well, bring the fucking Concorde back. The fuck is wrong with these people? Bring it back. I know it's a gas guzzler. Fuck it. Let's get our guys over there fast. I know when Michael Andretti was racing for McLaren in Formula One, he used to take the Concorde over to England for testing and whatever in Formula One. Michael Andretti, not Mario. I don't think they had the Concorde yet when Mario. But then they got rid of the Concorde because of that one crash, and I guess it got too expensive or whatever. And I don't think Concorde has an H in it. That would be like there was a show on HBO, Flight of the Conchords. They spelled it that way because they were musicians, so they wanted to say chord, right? Why? By the way, one of the best fucking shows on HBO back in the mid 2000s, Flight of the Conchords. Look it up, well worth it. Fucking hilarious comedy and some great music too, like this. I'm the hip hop-opotamus. My rhymes are bottomless. And then he stops because he's got nothing else to say. Anyhow, some great shit on that show. I'm the hip hop-opotamus. My rhymes are bottomless. And he's like, I got nothing.
The fuck else rhymes with hippopotamus? Shit. That's all I got, guys. That's all I got.
All right, great show. Where are we headed?
We're sticking with MLS. We got a couple of videos.
Major League Soccer.
We're going to go to New York City. We just got done talking about how long it takes to get from New York to London. So we're going to stick with New York here and talk about...
You just become fucking Italian or something? We're going to New York City.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a large Italian population there. So
oh, yeah, there are. And Irish.
Yeah.
And Chinese.
North of Boston.
Yeah.
Moved up to Boston.
Too many of them did. They had that horrible Boston accent. It is. It's atrocious. It's just annoying to listen to.
It's
oh, you like them apples?
Definitely not getting the ladies wet with it. I'll put it that way.
Well, unless you're Matt Damon. How you like them apples?
I guess you have something else going for you then, in that sense.
Mm-hmm. He's so smart. All right.
He's wicked smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You almost made me spit my beer out. All right.
Oh, that would have been an expensive spit take, but it would have been worth it.
Yeah, all over my screen. I think that would be horrible.
That would have been really expensive then.
Yeah. This loan hasn't gone. Oh, all right. Some news from Orlando City's last match up in New York. MLS disciplinary committee has issued a one-match suspension and an undisclosed fine for New York City FC's Richard Ledesma for spitting at OCSC's Ivan Angulo in the 31st minute. Here we can clearly see him running down the field. Here he angles towards him, spits right next to his hand, misses barely.
Look, I feel like he missed him by like feet.
Here we go. He might have got some spittle on that hand. It was close. Regardless, there will be some suspensions coming. One match for a spit. That's it.
Yeah.
The loan hasn't gone as many people would have hoped for Richie, and this doesn't help matters. Thoughts straight red. Yeah, we kind of told you about Richie Ledesma. We weren't ready to totally give up on him because most of the time he couldn't play in Holland. He was injured.
Massively injured.
Yeah, that left testicle injury happened over and over and over and over again. And anyhow, yeah, he's come to MLS and he's just shown he's sort of just a good MLS player. Not always good either. So there you go. I mean, am I putting him into forget about him category? Yeah, I am.
It's
forget
probably
about
at
him.
this point. I mean,
Yes.
even he's what? How old is he? Like 23, 24?
Somewhere around there now. 23.
I mean, come on. Even if he has some stellar MLS seasons, he might have a shot at some bit minutes with the national team. It's pretty much a long race at this point.
At this point, he'd have to get hit by lightning and something click that never clicked before. Like lightning would hit him and his brain would suddenly awaken in a certain netherly region that isn't working right now for him. And listen, he's been the same player since he was 16, 15 years old. He never got any better. So there's
he's injured the entire fucking time.
Well, take better care of your testicles.
Don't you know that P. Morton says the Wisconsin accent is worse?
The Wisconsin accent is the worst.
Don't you know? Oh,
yeah, right on the border.
Anybody
Yeah.
remember Bobby's World? The cartoon?
No.
Like late 80s, early 90s?
No.
You're a little old at that point. You wouldn't have watched that.
Yeah, I was in college in the 90s, early 90s.
Been smoking some like, dude, this kid Bobby, he's riding a tricycle, man. Oh,
no, I would have been watching Beavis and Butthead and who's Ren and Stimpy?
Ren and Stimpy.
Those were the only two cartoons I watched back in
That's fair.
college.
Those are fair arguments to make on as far as cartoons for an adult in the 90s.
For an adult in the 90s, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Well, let's pull that off. You'll yank it off, Derek. Okay. So Derek,
yeah.
I'm going to pull up another video over here of one of our favorite MLS to U.S. men's national team players.
Okay.
Cade Cowell.
What about him?
He almost had an absolute screamer.
Oh, but that's his fucking middle name, Cade Almost Cowell.
Let me change this up because I want to be able to see myself when I'm sharing this video.
That's what she said.
Hey. I'm going to mute this because we don't need the audio. It's pointless. All right, so Derek, before I even play it, how do you think this play works out?
I don't
know. Almost scores a hell of a goal. What happens?
He dribbles down the left, cuts in with his right, and shoots just wide to the right.
Well, Derek, you couldn't be more wrong. Let's see how wrong you were, Derek.
Okay. That was his normal way to do this, though.
Here he goes.
Okay.
Dribbling down the left.
Okay. I've got it right so far. and this dummy is going to let him cut inside.
Right? Oh, it hits the
Oh, just right. I promise everyone here I have not seen this at all.
Derek, how many times every U.S. men's national team game do we talk about this? Whether it's youth national team or with the big boys, the seniors. This is his play. Well, he dribbles down the left, cuts in, and rips a shot. And yes, that could have been a great goal. But come on, guys. This has to be super fucking predictable. Play him to his left. Take away the middle. Take away the middle.
Obviously, it's not predictable because Numbnuts there covering him gave him the inlet to cut inside. Watch him right here. He slows down. Good. No, that was one step too far, dude.
Yeah. I would have gifted him the left. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would have just said, go
have
have
left, bro. That's what happens.
Have the left, but you ain't cutting inside, bitch.
Oh,
I'm gonna stay one. I'm staying even with you.
Yeah.
On your inside. Him, right? Yeah. Even flow. Exactly. I would not even. Yeah.
It's so predictable. I mean, it's uncanny. Come on, guys.
One trick pony. Down.
He's what am I gonna do? Up. I've been. I know the entire time I've been using my right foot to dribble. Which way do you think I'm going to go, guys?
It's a good shot. I'll give him. The shot was nice.
Hey, it is just a one. He is a one-trick pony, but that one trick is solid, assuming that the defender gives him that open middle.
Okay, but look what happens to one-trick ponies after a while. I.e., warning would be Sebastian Saucedo, who now is a complete fucking bench warmer in the Mexican League. Okay? That's the warning story that he needs to look out for. Don't be a one-trick pony. You've got to learn some other tricks. That's all I'm saying.
It's just, I loved it. Obviously, it was the softball, Derek. It was softball set up to you.
You're like, you're completely wrong.
I mean, I couldn't say, well, Derek, you got it right, Derek. You got it right. I couldn't have done that. That would have been lame. Lame, I tell you.
Yeah, they would have said, "Good sucking his cock. Move on with the show."
But I mean, come on. I mean, how?
Yeah, it's predictable.
It's predictable, and you know he's got the athleticism to benefit him on certain plays. But I mean, if a defenders have got to wise up to this. Oh, Cade's coming down the left. He's only got a right. Just give him the entire sideline. Just give him a yard.
Yeah,
Let him run.
mean, you can say what you want about Jordan Morris, but he was never a one-trick pony because he would take the left if you gave it to him. He
wasn't until he had 2 knee surgeries later.
Well, that yes, obviously, and then because he eventually did find himself a left foot to cross with, but remember he used to cross with his right foot from the outside of the foot for how long did he do that when he was young? And then they're like, no, dude, you got to learn how to use your left foot. And then he spent hours and hours and hours crossing with his left foot. It got better. Before Jackson's practices, we get to the practice and games early so we can practice outside of what the team does. And so I'm like, all right, we're gonna dribble to the end line just using our right feet. And then turn around like we're just gonna use our left feet now. And Jack's like, oh, I can't do this. I'm bad with my left feet. I'm like, well, that's the fucking point.
Yes, I know. It's gonna feel awkward until you start doing it. So,
I mean, jerking it with your left hand feels weird, right? But
you get the burning sensation you get in your forearm, sure.
No, I always had big forearms, so that was never a problem for me. So, I mean, look at these beasts. Look at these beasts.
That just means you jerk it a lot.
I was a tennis player. All right, but you know what? Once you get them, they never really go away. They don't atrophy. They will eventually. When I turn 60, they'll probably just start fading away. But right now, they're still solid as a rock. Little Popeye action there. All muscle, by the way, not fat. No fat on my forearms at all. All right, just
I guess we can touch base on the Yanks abroad real quick.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But I want since we're in MLS and you usually have some MLS standouts who score goals and shit like that.
Yeah,
I wanted to chime in before you.
Oh,
because I'm going to bring up my Chicago Fire, of course.
Oh boy,
who clinched a playoff spot? Oh wait, no, that was Chicago Fire 2. Shit.
Yep.
So hey, you know what? Chicago drew. It's coming down to the fucking wire yet again. But
Gutierrez was great.
Gutierrez had a fucking goal and an assist, man. Fucking man of the fucking match.
Yeah. Might be time for him to move.
He's not bound for Chicago much longer. And Chicago has to know this. They only got a couple of years left, like a year or 2 left on his contract. They have to look to sell him at this point.
They have to. And you know what? Unlike Mihailovic, he's got a pair. He's got like an almost arrogance to his game.
Dude, his swagger, as far as just moving without the ball, even reminds me a lot of Reyna. Now, Reyna light. Yeah, I'm not comparing the two by any means. But I'm just saying the way he moves around the pitch reminds me a lot of Reyna.
For a kid his age, yes, that's pretty impressive. And he was the standout for Chicago in that game. And but yeah, you don't get the win. I mean, Guti can't go on playing on this shitty fucking club for.
Well, then again, neither could Mihailovic, and he went to Montreal and stood out, and then he got a transfer abroad. So, yeah, he just needs to leave Chicago at this point.
Yeah, but that's not working out at all for Mihailovic right now.
I feel like that's a personal issue.
It is. Other performers in MLS were Lucio Costa, who basically dribbled through 3 players and scored a goal for Cincy. Goal and assist.
Despite having a couple of players open that he could have easily passed to, too.
I know. They're like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, okay.
And we scored a goal. Fuck it. Hey, good work, man.
Well done. Omir Fernandez scored 2 for New York Red Bull that were nice. I don't know if we've given up on him, like going anywhere. He's getting a little old at this point, but that was a good game for him. Cameron Harper also scored. He had a goal and an assist. Tom Barlow's got an assist. Neelis got a goal, and Tolkien got a goal and an assist.
Damn.
So there's a guy, Tolkien, who still needs to figure some stuff out and grow a bit more as a player.
You're not just talking about physically, right?
No, I'm talking about
not necessarily grow.
Yeah, I just having a better like feeling about where to be and when to be in the right place. And then just some decision making stuff. But otherwise, he's a pretty solid player for his age in MLS. How can you forget about Hoppy? I haven't been there yet. 2 goals.
Oh,
two.
I thought. Well, he's
got 1 goal.
Well, it's 2 goals in 2 games.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. But he did get a goal for San Jose. He got 30 minutes. He scored 2 goals in 2 games. You think maybe it might be time for him to get a start. So we'll see. His goal was nice. It's very well struck. So
and
we'll
you know what? I haven't seen him that happy on the pitch in a long time. He scored that goal.
Yeah.
He ran around, made sure every single player on that pitch got a high five.
Yeah.
It was nice to see.
It is. It's kind of like almost a sigh of relief in many ways. It's like, okay, I don't suck like everybody I've been with at Mallorca and fucking Middlesbrough and Aberdeen. Is it Aberdeen? I can't remember.
It was Scottish. I don't even know what Scottish team was.
I always forget what Scottish team he played for, but I thought it was Aberdeen. Anyhow, everybody's telling him he's not good enough. So now he gets here. They told him he wasn't good enough. So he's not even like getting that much playing time, but he's making the most of what he's getting. So good for you, Matthew.
At this point, the guy needs to be a team player and just bust his ass when he gets his chances.
Yes. And eventually he'll get a start. Jose Jesus Ferreira Hibbs. Thank you, Jackie D. God, why can't I remember Hibernian? Yes, thank you. Iberian. Yes. Why can't I remember my mispronunciations?
Yeah, I wondered if that was the club that everybody got on your backside about. That was who it was.
Well, it wasn't that bad. Jesus got an assist. Justin Glad got a goal. Who cares? Brian White. Brian White is a guy, when I do this report, that's on here every week for Vancouver.
Yeah.
He's on. How many times have I mentioned this guy in this report this year?
Well,
10 times?
That's one of the big people that people are talking about with MLS at this point. Like, when is his call up going to be?
Never. Although he did get a call from Gregg like last year, where he's like, "Hey man, you keep it up. You keep this up. You're going to call up.
Scoring these goals. I'm not getting any phone calls. What the fuck? You'll
get a call up. Gold Cup."
Hey, I'll take a Camp Cupcake at this point.
Yes, he should. Gutman for Rapids got a.
Is that where Gutman's at now?
Yeah, I know that he's moved around a lot. He got a goal. Cole Bassett got an assist. Shaq Moore for Nashville, he got an assist. Andreas Jasson. I inhaled my own spit. Got a goal for NYCFC, and so did Andres Pereira. So there you go. Those were your MLS standouts.
Non-Yanks abroad.
Non-Yanks abroad. These guys were yanking it at home.
Yeah. The comfort of their own house, their parents' basement.
Mm-hmm. All right. Before we get into the Yanks abroad part, I did send you a chart that I had made that I'd like to explain.
Yes, you did. I forgot all about that.
And I think it's something we'll start using once Brett has some time to read it and go over it. I was thinking the other day, what kind of system could I create that would describe every situation, generally describe a player's performance during a game in a very general way, right? So some of these can be mixed, but I started.
Is mostly poor worse than ghosted? I mean,
ghosted means you didn't even.
You were almost non-existent.
Yeah, you didn't even try.
But then mostly poor means you were existent, but you were bad.
At least you were engaged in the game.
Well, that could be good and bad. I mean, we saw a number of very poor plays that led almost to goals against U.S. versus Uzbekistan and Oman. But if you ghosted and you weren't even there for that play, then those wouldn't have existed.
No, I'm talking about ghosting a whole fucking game.
I'm just saying.
Like, you might as well not have been on the pitch. Kind of like how Trusty wasn't on the pitch for Sheffield United. I wouldn't call that ghosted. I'd call that bench.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I would call that bench.
That's blowing a Horvath.
But what I'm saying is somebody who played, they might as well not have been on the field at all. That's ghosted. That's Julian Green, circa Stuttgart, right? On loan from Bayern Munich.
I'm glad that you had that.
Ghosted.
Otherwise, Larry would have had you for lunch tomorrow.
Okay.
And it would have been nonstop notification on my part.
Larry doesn't bother me. All right, so
Because you
ghosted,
muted it, I think, didn't you?
ghosted, yes, is worse than mostly poor, because at least mostly poor means you tried. You just played like shit. Ghosted is scared little child who doesn't want the ball, doesn't show for the ball, doesn't get engaged in the game at all. That's just a wuss bag. That's a guy that doesn't give a shit. That's Julian Green, circa Stuttgart, on loan from Bayern Munich.
To use a comparison, let's say so mostly poor is hey, at least you tried, but you weren't great.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosted means you didn't try. So let's say I was hosting a cooking class.
Yeah,
we're making apple pies, and you had Tommy over here constantly trying to make apple pies, but they
weren't good.
Horrific.
No, they're poor.
But Johnny over here,
they're poor.
Didn't make a single pie because he was non-existent. He basically didn't do anything.
Yeah, he didn't participate in making pies, even though it's a pie making contest.
Hey, little Timmy, I don't think that's the name I went, but the mostly poor guy, he wasted all those materials making the pies, whereas Johnny over here didn't do shit.
Yeah, but Johnny didn't participate, period.
But that could be good and bad, though, because if all you're participating in is poorness, then you might as well not even be on the pitch.
You know what? If you hand me a poorly made pizza pocket, I'll probably eat it because I'm hungry. Right? I'm really hungry. But guess what? I can't eat shit. I can't eat shit Johnny made because Johnny didn't make me anything.
In fairness, you would starve with Johnny, but Timmy, you would at least be unsatisfied but full.
Well, let's just put it this way. You really need to jerk one, right? Really quick. You've got a choice between no video at all and a mostly poor porn video. It's mostly porn, not all poor, but mostly poor. You'll find the little pockets that were good, right? And you'll watch that and you'll jerk off. Otherwise, you got to use your imagination.
All right, we can go in a lot of depth with that, Derek. But
right now,
so Derek, your two options are either not watching a video being ghosted or watching some dude get pissed on. Because we talked about this earlier on the show, so I'm going full circle here.
Howler. That's a howler.
Okay, fair. Okay. You're throwing Howler into the mix here. Come on.
Yes. Howler again. Everything you did was garbage. Every play you engaged in was catastrophe. It was the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's like you bought a porn that you thought was an all lesbian outfit, and it turns out to be an all male video. That is a howler.
I was going to make the joke about being all dudes on the video. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get into that because that's not what you thought you rented. But somebody back in the day when they used to do the VHSs, somebody flipped the tapes, right? For a joke. Mm-hmm. All right. So then you brought home the all male video, right? And you're watching that instead of the lesbian
better,
video.
Right?
What if the poor video makes
it get better? It's an hour and 15 minutes. Is it going to get any better?
Listen, BMR 209. We love you, brother. What if the poor? I would then. Are you saying that you could do it by imagination alone? Then I would recommend go ahead and do the ghosted version.
Yeah, get ghosted.
Yeah, because if you've got that good of an imagination, I say go for it. Yeah. But most of us don't. Like that kind of imagination goes away after high school, right? Where you're able to like jerk it in the bathroom, thinking about Mary Ann from seventh period.
Showing her ankles during, I don't know, insert random class here, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Hot. Very hot.
Oh my God. Ankles. Nice.
Right. So as we move up the ladder from mostly poor, we've got erratic, inconsistent, good and bad. So there's some good. There was some bad, but it was a little erratic and inconsistent. It wasn't mostly poor. It was probably closer to 50-50, right? B is just contributed here and there. You know, you got the bit part in the porn. So you're kind of in the background, but you do contribute.
You're the one that's on the Xerox machine taking photocopies of your ass while your coworkers are doing it.
I think you're probably doing it too, but you're not featured in the movie. It's maybe you see if some of your some cock and balls, but you're not like a major figure in the movie itself. Made a positive difference. Yeah, okay, that's a little different, right? Then not only did you contribute here and there, that's a little step up. You also made a positive difference, like you made the pass that led to the goal. That's different. So that's a step up. Or in the case of porn, you had the best fucking, junk shot in the whole movie. No, the best money shot, the best money shot in the whole video, right? Okay.
That's positive difference, making a positive difference. I mean, I feel like the best money shot would be like in the A's somewhere.
It's still a B+.
Yeah, fair enough.
One of the standouts of the game would be A-. That means you're one of the players on the field that if you were to name the top 5 or 6 players who played in that game, you would be one of them. And then best player on your team. All right. That could be the same as best player of the pitch, but best player on your team that game gets you an A, I think. Generally. Best player.
Wait. Okay, so I've got to ask this because we're going to be splitting hairs at this point, but how can you possibly be the best player on your team? Okay, I guess that maybe if you're not the team wasn't the best team. Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Right.
I was like, how can you be the best player on the team but not the best player on the pitch? Well, somebody else on the other team might be the best player on the pitch.
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you were the best player for your team, but there was another guy on that pitch that day that did better than you.
Gotcha.
And took control of the game. So yeah, I'll give you some plaudits, but in the end, that dude was better. So anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that out there as a way we can kind of see things going forward. Maybe we could put it up in the corner somewhere when we're talking about some of the games we've watched this weekend. In fact, we could just leave it up as we go through the Yanks Abroad list today and try to see which one of them, where they fit in this.
That was the plan.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to start that?
Yes. You're the one on the list.
Let's get it started. Yeah. That's not what
you're singing some Black Eyed Peas now.
Yeah, I don't even.
I had no idea you were such a fan of such media.
I'm not a fan. It just came out of my mouth, and I'm really disappointed with myself. Actually,
Black Eyed Peas. I've got 6 lines that I'm gonna sing for the entire song, but I got a nice little tune to it, so it's good, right?
You're gonna sing it right now?
Fuck no.
Oh, I thought you were going to using your Kermit voice.
No.
I mean,
I need some practice. Maybe there'll be a video we can put up later on.
I mean, you do sound like Kermit naturally, so it's not that hard.
It doesn't take a lot of effort. I agree.
Can you do a little? It's not easy being green.
Oh Jesus! You put me on the spot. Rainbow connection.
Yeah,
the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Well done, Brett.
I really pulled back, man. I was like,
that is well done. All right, it shouldn't take you that much. It's not difficult because it's kind of your natural range, right?
It's not too far off. Yes, I can do it. Although in person, I don't think it really sounds like that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Sounds good, Brett. Broken Furnace Recordings. Are you like what kind of music do you guys put out? Broken Furnace. Is it like heavy metal, hardcore? What do the kids listen to these days? Crap! That's what they listen to.
They listen to K-pop is what they listen to, Derek.
K-pop.
K-poppers.
All right. Well.
So there you go, Derek. You should
indie rock. Get the fuck out of here, brother. You're like you just earned 10 bonus points. Have I sent you my record? Do you have my record? All right.
Anyway, we had Sick, Brett. That's really good. That is Kermit, LOL. Good Kermit. Genius impersonation. Or impression, sorry. What is the song that plays at the ending credits of the show? That's Derek's song.
Yep, it's from the album that came out in...
Check in the description down below, guys.
Yeah. There. So, I mean, it's all stuff I wrote and then was finally published. Stuff I wrote back in 2004 and 5. And I had a label, but life happened and I got married and I had kids and blah, blah, blah. And anyhow, All My Music went to the side. It would have been our 5th album at the time, but it never came out. And so it came out late last year. Indie jazz. That's interesting. I like that. I like the thought of it. Some Coltrane shit, maybe. 51 years old. That's how old I am. Was sponsored by Watford FC when I played club soccer. Hey, Broken Furnace, have you heard my album? Have you heard it yet? Anyhow, if you haven't, go look up Derek Ritchie, Brando.
Derek,
yeah.
you got to look up his YouTube channel.
I will. I'll check it out, dude. I'll check you out. I'm an indie rock dude myself. Many years of it. Anyhow, so let's move on to the review. Balagun. Starting heavy here, went 67 in a loss, and the loss was his fault in many ways because he missed 2 penalty kicks. He wasn't that great in the run of play either. He was average, but missing 2 penalty kicks makes you mostly poor.
Ooh.
Yes,
I mean, I didn't watch his match, so I don't know how he played. But I mean, when I hear you miss 2 PKs and your team loses 1-0, how is that not a howler of a game?
Okay.
I'm not saying that he's a horrible player. I'm just saying, how is that not considered a howler of a game?
I'll agree. Howler of a game.
I think by giving him mostly poor, we're kind of boning up and saying that's so uncharacteristic of him. 9 times out of 10, he would have put both those PKs when they would have won the game.
Yeah, I was being nice.
Yeah, but
howler.
we got to be real with it. Absolute howler.
Cannon did not dress for QPR. God knows when he's going to. But Kelman was in the Kelman was in the 18 for Queens Park Rangers.
Yeah.
He didn't play. Fossey went 78 in a tie for Standard Liège against Reynolds
right?
and Westerlo, who went 90 in that tie. I really don't have a rating for either because I didn't watch this match. So I didn't watch it. It was available. I just didn't get to it.
As Tack mentioned in his Yanks Abroad show, there are just so many games to watch.
Yeah.
And there's only so much time available.
Here are the games I did watch this weekend. Verona versus AC Milan, Dortmund versus Wolfsburg, Hoffenheim versus Union, Gladbach versus Leipzig, Fulham versus Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest versus Man City, Juve versus Sassuolo, Celta Vigo versus Barca, PSV versus Almere, Freiburg versus Eintracht Frankfurt. No, I didn't watch the whole thing because then I found out that Aronson didn't come in, so I canceled that one. Heidenheim versus Bayern. And so that's a lot of fucking games to watch.
See, for me, I'm not going to be able to add a lot to this segment because I didn't get to watch any games this week because
you got a family.
It's tournament time.
Mm-hmm.
So my nephews are all in tournaments right now, into fall season tournaments, and then my son actually has playoffs next weekend.
Playoffs.
We're
talking playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So may have games all weekend. So getting around to watching it's going to be hit or miss. Did you get to Juve though? No, I did not.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's the one I would have gone back and watched despite the scoreline.
Yeah, I know it was bad. And I was texting you that. I let you know. I warned you. Lund went 45 for Palermo in a loss. Justin Che 82 right back for Ado Den Haag in the second division.
Not a whole lot, BMR.
All right, Holland. What did you bring to the table then, Brett? Right now, not a lot. But
I got other points later on in the show, BMR. Shut your mouth.
In the Eerste as we continue, John Hilton went 90 at left back for Dordrecht in a tie versus Aze's 2 team. John Hilton. Let's remember that name. Let's not forget him. Gideon Zalalem went 90 for Den Bosch in a loss versus Roda. Rickson Van Hees at right back for Utrecht 2 in 90 versus Cambuur. Conrad for Ibar did not dress. All right.
Yeah, I feel like a number of these you probably could have avoided.
What do you mean?
I don't know. We're talking about games against two teams in Holland.
Well, they're
Conrad De La Fuente.
They're youngsters. They're youngsters.
I know, but I'm just...
You got to cover Shea. You got to cover John Hilton because he's a youngster at Dordrecht. You got to cover Rickson Van Hees because he's at Utrecht too, and he's a youth player, right? Now, you could tell me, Derek, there was no point in bringing up Zalal, and you'd be absolutely correct. There is no point in bringing up Zalal.
No, I know why you're bringing him up, Derek.
Right, because
he's your boy, Derek. He's your boy.
He humiliated me. Right. Yeah. I backed him front and center. And
it's a hill you're dying on that hill.
Mm-hmm. But injury, let's be clear, it was injury that changed Zalal's career.
You beat me to it. I was going to say you have the excuse that, hey, he lost both legs, right?
Yeah.
They're knee injuries, right?
Knee injuries, right.
Always the worst, man.
Yeah.
Always the worst.
Then we had Crystal Palace against Fulham, which was a great game to watch, even though, it ended up a 0-0 tie. Jedi, I thought, was the best player on his team, so give him an A. Ream was solid, one of the standouts of the game, so he would get an A-, whereas Richards didn't play. So there.
I was going to say that's what Tech said that about. Basically, there's a consensus between American fans and Fulham fans is that Jedi was like man of the match.
Man, he was great. And I like the way he'll go over and communicate with the manager during breaks and like a player's down injured. And they'll talk about like, okay, how do you do that better? And he's like, okay, I could tell him. Like, he's like, when this certain thing happens, cut in. Don't go down the wing. Cut in. They're giving you the wing. Cut in. They're not giving, they're going out and attacking you on the wing. So cut back into the center.
The coaches constantly tell him, hey, cut back into the center because you don't have a cross.
Right, because they're playing you to cross, so they're over committing. He's like, cut back in. You could see him explain it to him on his hand. It's a really awesome match to watch. No, it wasn't that clear, but you could tell. And then Jedi was shaking his head, like, yeah, I get it. I see what you're saying there. Turner went 90 and lost 2-0 to Man City. Not his fault. Neither goal he could do anything about. He contributed here and there, so I'd give him a B. It's just that once the yellow card for Rodri happened, you would have thought Nottingham Forest, they did actually put on more pressure after that. But you know what? Rodri's kind of a fucking baby. He's such an over fucking excited baby. Like that foul, that red card was so fucking unnecessary. What a ridiculous temper that guy had. And, listen, Pep let him know too after the match and said, hey, that's unacceptable. It's bullshit. You need to have some fucking self-control, dude. But yeah, he flew off his handle. He put his hands around a dude's neck. And yeah, you don't do that. That's so obvious. You don't grab someone by the neck. That's the worst thing you can do. Right, Wes?
Yeah.
Right, Wes? Yeah. All right.
BMR says that's Mr. Overexcited Baby to you.
Yeah, maybe so. He is the best player on that team when he's playing well.
Mr. Overexcited Baby is my father's name.
DK and Sargent are still injured. Dwayne Holmes.
I think DK is on permanent injury list for you right now, Derek.
I don't know.
He's ever coming back.
He just lives at hospitals. Holmes for Preston North End went 70 in a tie. Reyna was in the 8. By the way, Dwayne Holmes is playing really well this season. I know he's not going to get a call up because Gregg hates him, but or a look-see even, or even like on the provisional list. I doubt we'll see him, but he's playing really well.
Yeah. And as we're going to get to this conversation, because it's kind of leading into Brooks to an extent, at least with Holmes, Berhalter has an excuse. There's enough central midfielders / wingers that you could sit there and say, like, yeah, I like this guy better.
Yeah. He doesn't need an excuse for Holmes because we're loaded in his positions. And Holmes has been playing right winger or right forward, depending on which game you've seen. And he's been really effective this season for Preston North End. That's the reason they're at the top of the table right now. Not the top, but they're near the top, I believe. I think they're third or second. I can't remember. Reyna was in the 18. He was at least in the 18. He didn't play. You would think they might have given him like 5 minutes or 10 at the end there, but no, maybe he's not perfectly ready to go.
Well, that's the point, though, right? if he's not 100% ready to go, you throw him in the very end just to get the legs moving.
Well, no, I mean like not 100% as in if we put him in, will he get re-injured again?
Then
We're
he shouldn't be in the 18.
worried.
He shouldn't be in the 18 unless Dortmund's trying to placate the American audience.
I'd agree with that. I mean, you would think if you're in the 18, you're capable of giving 10 minutes.
Yes.
You would
100%.
think.
100%.
But something's going on there and he didn't get 10 minutes.
But that happened last season too, though. I mean, he was healthy. He was back. He was scoring goals for them. But then there'd be some games where he just would never see the pitch.
So, yeah. We should probably talk.
And you can make the argument that maybe there's some tactical reasons in insert random match here why he didn't get to play at all. That's fine to make, I guess, but
no, there's no reason for that.
I don't think so either.
But as far as Crocker goes, saying that Gregg and him have communicated.
Are we going to that right now?
Yeah. And that all there is now to do is like, since this communication has occurred, which really you would have thought Gregg would have talked about. Like Gregg should have announced this, not Betty Crocker. Gregg is such a great manager. There's no manager in the world that's capable of apologizing to a guy who isn't old enough to drink. Betty made a great choice in picking him. I already did, you bald.
Oh, goes, forgive me or I'll kick you in the legs.
I already did, you bald prick. Fuck, I should have hired Jesse.
Look, you're missing one character down here at the very bottom.
That's
there.
so small, I cannot hear that.
It says,
I cannot see that.
The turd says, my wife left me.
No. It's perfect.
So yeah, breaking news, Betty says Gregg and Gio spoke. Exercising great leadership, Gregg apologized to 20-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that this mocks his whole leadership focus, because that's all Gregg talks about is leadership. Like he's a guru, or as they say in England, a guru of leadership. So anyhow, I hate the way the British pronounce that word. By the way, a guru. No, dude,
it sounds like an insult. Really?
Yeah.
Does.
Well,
You're
there's a whole song by T-Rex that's about that uses the British pronunciation of it in the song. I think the name of the song is something guru, but a guru, boop-a-doo. Yeah, it's horrible. I can't stand listening to that song, and I love T-Rex, so it's kind of sad. But that song annoys me. All right, so I don't know. I don't have anything to add more because we talked about it earlier as well. But basically, Betty Crocker is saying we're all set to go. And as soon as he's healthy and ready to go, he'll be called up to the next window, and we're good to go.
So,
this can all be over, is what he's saying.
I guess the big talking point here is they talked about how he hadn't talked to Gio, and they're going to bring in arbitrator, yeah,
or
they're going to bring an arbitrator in to handle the conversation between him and Gio. That's why it took so long to contact him when they could have easily done it anytime up until this point. Why did it take so long to get to this point? And it was such a lackluster announcement. Like, Goff is like, yeah, I'm getting word that Berhalter talked to Gio.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's something to take from this. I don't believe that Berhalter didn't talk to him. I'm sure he talked to him.
He did not talk to him. He communicated with him, which
means
right.
You communicated, yeah.
It's whatever communication they had was not verbal. It was not by phone. It was not by Zoom. It was probably by text.
Yeah. So
mediator. Thanks, Lane.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess my take is that my point in that sense is that I'm sure there's some communication there. I don't think that's a lie. I'm sure that Gio has received some form of communication from Berhalter.
So
hopefully it's in the sense of saying, hey, I'm glad that you're getting back and healthy. I'm going to be in Germany. I want to sit down with you. Let's talk.
So, yeah, when my boss, who runs the organization, says to me, hey, have you got in touch with so-and-so? And I can't remember if it was by text or it was by email, I say, yes, I communicated with her last week. Let me check into that. Because I know I didn't talk to her
Text or
one-on-one.
email, it is the same chord that you're striking there. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Text or email.
Text or email is communicated.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, I would have said to my boss, yes, I called Senator so-and-so's office and we spoke. That didn't happen. What happened was an email or a text happened, and I couldn't remember which one it was. So I said, just generally, we communicated. That's what's going on here. There was no actual one-on-one conversation between Gregg and Reyna. It was a communication via text. No problem.
One of the mainstream pundits, it may have still been Goff since that's who we're talking about. I think broke it. Maybe it was Carlisle. I'm not sure. But I believe they talked about how that Gregg basically said that if Gio was healthy for October's window, that he'd be called in.
Yes.
So there's more than just receiving a text message from Gregg giving him a thumbs up, and Gio holding down on that thumbs up and giving a ha-ha.
No.
There's definitely a little back and forth. There had to have been back and forth.
I think it was as simple as this. Are you ready to be called into October camp if I call you? And he sent him a thumbs up or whatever. And that's it. That's communicate, right? That is a communication.
He sent him an egg playing with a couple squirts after it.
No, he sent a picture of a
soccer
player kicking something. But
hopefully not a woman, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't have that little woman emoji after that. So I'm sure that didn't happen. By the way, when you refer to Jeff Carlisle, his name is Jeff the Blackmail Carlisle from here on out.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Jeff the Blackmail Carlisle.
And then after you post that once, Jeff the Blackmail Carlisle, the next time you post his name, it's Jeff the Blackmail. This was just redacted Carlisle.
Just call him Blackmail Carlisle, and you got it going on. He's the one who spread that shit all over and then didn't take responsibility for it. All right.
It was kind of redacted.
So that was Gregg. No, it wasn't. Well, kind of, yeah. But there were no corrections listed. It just, that article kept evolving and changing without any explanation at all. So Jeff the Blackmail Carlisle, not that kind of blackmail.
Jackie D's asking if that's his porn name.
It could be. Wishful thinking for Jeff, I'm sure. All right, Turner. We talked about we are down to Aronson, Union Berlin versus Brooks and Hoffenheim. Here is where Aronson goes in the game. He runs a lot. Nothing happens. He doesn't have much an effect on the game. He's yanked at halftime. He was mostly poor. And if that doesn't stop, he's not going to get many more starts. And he's not going to get time off the bench. Because if you don't play and have any effect at all on the game, really, then you're going to be yanked at halftime. And that's what happened to Brendan Aronson at Union Berlin. So, and they lost. They were like on a 4-game losing streak, Union Berlin. So they're looking for something. Did he do his usual run all over the place? Yes. Did he have any effect on the game? No. But Brooks, on the other hand, had a fantastic game, except for one major error that could have cost the team. He had one bad. It was reminiscent of the Honduras game where he stepped up the field 20 yards.
Spun around like a top.
Did you see?
I saw the play, yes.
Yeah. And you thought, oh, dude, you overcommitted on that fucking thing. And it didn't lead to a goal. Some guy got back and saved his ass.
You could see the look in his face too. It's like he committed and he's like, "Oh shit!" Then spun around. Then he got completely burned.
Yep. I would still say, even after that era, he was one of the standouts of the game on the Hoffenheim defense. Did he make one blunder? And was it a bad one? Yes. But I don't think you can just say he made a positive difference, because I think he was one of the standouts on defense for that team most of the game out of the back. So I would give him an A-.
So in the sense of forgiving and reaching out to players who spited you, if you were Gregg in this situation.
Oh yeah, that.
Do you reach back out to Brooks if the next step for Berhalter is unless assuming there's no cancer in the locker room, it's just a Berhalter versus Brooks thing. Do you take the extra step at this point and reach out to Brooks?
Well, what did 29 tell us? What did Diego tell us? Diego told us that Brooks was a leader in the locker room, that a lot of the players looked up to Brooks, and Berhalter did not like that. He said that, and I quote, or mostly quote, the players listened to Brooks more than they listened to Gregg, and Gregg did not like that. So you had a question somebody posed about the Brooks situation.
Ooh. Hold on, let me zoom out a little here.
Okay. Let's read it. I'll read it. Hey guys, love the live stream stuff. You all do on YouTube, especially now that In Soccer We Trust appears to have been disbanded. Oh, is that true?
I didn't know about this, and I looked, and the last thing that they posted was 3 weeks ago.
Then they've been disbanded.
So I know Jimmy has been. I thought Jimmy was starting a new show on CBS somewhere else.
Why is CBS doing that?
And then on top of that, I know Chuck is on his own somewhere else. I feel like Heath is the only one that's been kicked aside in this. Unless he's got his own shtick somewhere.
I think Heath calls games for MLS.
That's possible.
I can't remember which team. It's not going to be in it.
I'm pulling it up here real quick.
It's not going to be in his Wikipedia. I can tell you that much.
Oh, no. I'm pulling up the channel to take a look and I'll
continue reading. You're the only pod live stream outlet I have right now. Perhaps you can talk about what happened to ISWT on tonight's show. But I really wanted to message you to say that I have too many issues with Berhalter. I do think you guys are a bit harsh on him at times, especially how you criticize him for lying about what happened to Brooks, but then also criticize him for revealing what happened with Gio. Would love to hear your thoughts on how you reconcile those situations. Very interesting question, because there are distinctions, obviously, between both situations. What Reyna did clearly was misconduct before the World Cup happened, during practice and during warm-ups and all that other shit. He was just not there being professional. Whereas what Brooks did was, in a way, sort of undermine Gregg's dominance of the team by being one of the players that all the other players looked up to, and having a hissy fit at halftime.
So I guess yeah.
Well, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Having a hissy fit at Gregg at halftime of the Honduras game when he was told he was being yanked at halftime, and that was the last we would hear of John Brooks. That should be something that could be mended. You would think that could be fixed with a conversation with somebody like John Brooks. But then Brooks went on to have a shitty season, but then he fixed it at the end of the season. Then he went to Benfica and fucked up, didn't play. Now he's back at Hoffenheim and he's playing better than he's played in years, a couple years. And now it needs to be reconciled. What you're basically asking us is, well, how can he be? First of all, what Gregg did exposing Reyna was an accident. It was stupid and naive by Gregg, but it was an accident. He'd exposed that situation on accident, but he was doing the right thing prior by working with Reyna inside the confines of the team bubble, right? That's how that shit should be held. Now, what you're saying is, well, you're asking Gregg now to take the Brooks conversation outside of the bubble. And I'm saying he hasn't addressed any of the real issues with Brooks in a way that would lead me to believe there was even an issue with Brooks inside the bubble. We don't get there's an issue with Brooks. What we get from Berhalter is there's no issue with Brooks. He's just not good enough. Did I do that justice, Brett?
No, I followed along with you. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess my take is what he's saying here is, why is it okay for Berhalter to why is it okay for us to say Berhalter should come out and explain what happened with Brooks, and it not be okay for him to come out and explain what happened with Gio? And I think that overall, we've been very consistent as far as what we expect and what we want as fans. And I'm not saying that as Berhalter, as a manager, he can do whatever he wants, but then you're going to have the questions come up. The thing that we've always said is, I want to know that there is an issue and that it's being resolved.
Right.
And then we're moving on. So initially with Brooks, he had a shit game. Now you can make the excuse that, well, he was playing on a really fucking weird lineup against Honduras away, and he got spun around and he got subbed at halftime, and we came back and won it, whatever. And then there was the whole drama there, and that was a
halftime drama.
We had two separate people explain that to us on our show, literally on the show. It's not like behind closed doors. This is what we heard. We had two people explain it to us. This is what happened. And then obviously you mentioned Diego's point as far as some other details, as far as from maybe some of the player standpoints. Who knows?
Right.
Ultimately, the same thing I would have expected with Gio in the World Cup would have been Berhalter come out whenever the question came. He didn't have to say anything before the game. People were going to ask a question at the end of the game. After the end of the Wales game, why didn't Gio play?
Right.
Hey, there was an internal issue. We took care of it. We're moving on.
Right.
And if
but there was an issue.
Yeah. But you know why he didn't play. That was the same reason why West didn't play the next or the final game of the window that he went lollygagging in Nashville.
Yeah.
Right. So they like, hey, what happened to this? We heard all these rumors about West. It's like, yeah, there's an internal issue. We got it resolved. Well, hopefully we'll move on from now.
Well, not only do we have it resolved, but Wes is going to miss the next game as part of his discipline for his activities. So, but we've never got anything like that about Brooks.
It's just all of a sudden, Brooks was not included in this roster, which is fine because, like you just said, in that first half of that season with Wolfsburg, he was absolute shit, and that carried over to the national team.
Right. And
you had all the excuse at that point to say, he's not in the best form right now. We want him to get in better form with this club. Let's let him sit at home. Let's let him sit at home and work that out.
And we were fine with that.
Yeah.
We were fine with that. When Gregg said that, we were like, okay, that's fine. We get it. He isn't playing well right now. But then he started playing well at the end of the season.
That's when all the excuses started. It was just one thing layered on top of another, layered on top of another, until you're sitting there going like, no, something's clearly amiss. This is bullshit. How is he not being included here? And again, going with what we said with what should have happened with Gio, what did happen with West, should have happened with Brooks. After the match, he would never said, hey, or even the next window, why wasn't Brooks called in? There was an internal issue last window. We're resolving it. We're going to move on.
Right. That would have been nice to hear that there was an issue. But instead, we got nothing. And then later on, we got, well, he's not in form, which is fine. Then we got, well, he can't play a high line like Tim Ream. So neither Ream or Brooks are being called up for that reason, because then either of them can play a high line. Well, that changed for the World Cup when Tim Ream suddenly made the World Cup and starred in the World Cup for us as our best center back in the World Cup. And then we're still moving on here. And we heard from not Hudson, but BJ when he was cornered. So the first time asked, he said, listen, he's always somebody we look at and always somebody we consider. And then they had to kind of not redact that, but they had to add to that the next day. BJ said, just to be clear, we just want to make sure that, Brooks is still in the picture. We didn't mean to be really just writing him off there by saying, hey, he's always we're saying if he continues to play well, BJ said when he was in command, that he would be considered going forward. Well, we have gotten nothing since. The press on the last window, when we knew Brooks had been playing well for the last half of the season at Hoffenheim, keeping them up, and now he is having one of the best seasons he's ever had. They are 4-1. They're at the top of the table in the Bundesliga. What is going to be the excuse next? How about just be a little honest? We're not looking for you to tell us the whole fucking story. Tell us how Brooks undermines your leadership. We'll call Matarazzo then and find out how he gets along with Brooks and how he doesn't let Brooks undermine his leadership, because it's obviously can be done. And it isn't that Brooks can't play a high line because Ream proved that you could with a slower player. And by the way, Brooks is faster than Ream. Okay, he's faster, not a lot faster, but he's got.
Yeah, over the weekend, I got into a long conversation with a number of people about the Brooks scenario. And the big argument there is that Ream reads the game better than Brooks.
That's what I read too, but
I don't. And I'm like,
I'm not buying that.
Well, you can't make a career being a slow center back in one of the top leagues of the world and not be able to read the game. And I'm not saying that he can't get spun like a top. We saw it this past weekend.
We saw it this weekend.
Yep. Shit happens. He'll get beat from time to time. That's why you kind of hope that maybe Jedi on his side or the other center back can help cover up on those situations. But there are so many other aspects of the game that he brings to it. And one of it is his distribution, his ability to lace a cross to what would be Weah on the right-hand side to change the point of attack in a fucking instance is massive. And we saw that in the World Cup with Ream. What happened when Zimmerman got the ball on the defense, Derek?
Yeah. No, I know nothing.
He looked right to Ream the entire time. Ream laced it across 90%.
Oh, that was obviously he was told to do. All the center backs that Ream played with in the World Cup were told to defer to Tim Ream. That he was the only one really allowed to make passes out of the back line. So here's what we get down to. What Berhalter could say publicly that would be acceptable about John Brooks is that he is a duplication of what we have with Tim Ream, who brings us both the veteran experience and the distributing skills with the left foot on the left side of the center back pairing.
And like 3 or 4 years younger.
Even though Brooks is younger.
Yeah.
But until that time, he sort of is a duplication for us. So right now we're going to stick with Tim Ream. And it's no offense to John Brooks. He's playing fabulous ball, but we really don't need two of the same player right now. And that would not be any offense to John Brooks. It would be like, listen, Tim Ream this is his job until he loses it. And when he loses it, maybe John Brooks is back. That would be one way of describing it without having to get into all the hairiness of what happened in Honduras and the other leadership threats that Brooks brings to a very unconfident or lacking confidence. Gregg Berhalter must have very just kind of a bad constitution, because a player like Brooks shouldn't be threatening to you with the other players.
Well,
so did Gregg.
With talks of going to a 3 center back at times by the World Cup 2026, the U.S. men's national team will have a 3 center back formation available to play.
They better not, because that means no, you can't do that. That means you're definitely losing one of your midfielders in that situation, because that means you're playing 3 center backs. You got Jedi out left, you got Dest out right, and then what? You're losing another one of our best skill players. Someone's going to have to go, because you can only play in the midfield then McKennie and Adams, right? Or Musa and Adams, or Musa and McKennie, because the top 3 are going to be, without a doubt, Pulisic, Weah, and whomever is jizzing all over the place with goals at center forward, right? And we hope that's the case. So you're losing.
Chris Carey was confused about one thing. He did ask about whether or not Brooks pulled himself out during that whole backs issue thing, which was the window following the whole blowout.
So we explained that at the time, Chris. What happened was that essentially he was told he was not going to be called in. And they told
start?
No, he's not going to start.
Yeah.
And of course, Brooks was unhappy. So they said, well, we're not going to call you in then. Why don't we just call this you're having a back strain or a back issue, and we'll deal with this next time around. We'll have more conversations. We'll work this out, but we'll just call it a back strain. Are you willing to go with that? Brooks went with that. It went public. That he had a back strain, and then he played the next game 2 days later, 3 days later.
Well, and this again, I made the comparison to Ted Lasso season 1, where Why can't I think of the guy's name? The old player that gets injured.
The guy that's his
coach.
Fuck.
Yeah. Why am I spacing his name?
Yeah.
Roy Keane. Roy Keane character.
The Roy Keane character. Yeah. Roy something. Yeah. Roy. Let's just call him Roy.
So he at the very end when he was like the last episode or last 2 episodes where he's going to get left off the lineup, and he's like Roy Kent. It's like Roy Kent never gets left. He starts every match he ever plays, type of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and Ted goes, well, why don't we just tell the press that you're injured? I mean you can do that. Plus you get to keep your dignity. Mm-hmm. And he talks about it's going to be beneficial whenever I God forbid have to go to America and play, which I would dominate. But it's same thought process, right? You tell the media no, he's injured, he can't play. That's why Roy Kent's not starting this match is because he's injured.
It's so common. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it
really does, people. There's managers don't want to humiliate players, so it's a lot easier to say, well, Ronaldo's got to pull a hammy thing. So he's probably good for maybe 10, 15 minutes. It's not fully healed. We don't know. It's somewhere. So we're going to play him the last 10 minutes of the game rather than say, or it's fitness, right? Rather than say he's not good enough to start or he's not good enough for our team in this case, Brooks.
That kind of scenario blew up in the during the World Cup when he said that that Gio was still he's still kind of injured. He came up during the tournament or the practice game with a little bit of tightness, so we didn't play in this match. And Gio's talking to the reporter. He goes, "No, he doesn't have to give me an excuse why he didn't play me. I'm ready to play."
Yep. You better get the thumbs up from the player before you start saying that shit. So
and we talked about that too. And I think what it was is during that whole spat back and forth, Berhalter was probably just pissed. And he's like, "You're not going to play in the Wales game. I'm just going to tell the press that you're injured. Deal with it," type of thing,
Yeah, maybe.
That's my thought process.
I think "deal with it" is a bad way to put it.
Well, that's me putting it. Me finishing that with the point, but deal with it.
It wouldn't shock me if that's what was said.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Aronson, we talked about. Scally went 80, P-Fox 64, and a 1-0 loss to Leipzig. Both of them looked rather erratic and inconsistent, so C's to both. McKenny, Weah, Toljan for Sassuolo. Toljan played right back and went 90. Weah went 30, coming in for McKenny after 60. McKenny had a great first half. He really did. And he even had some moments in the second half. And even the announcers were saying, he's been the best player on the field for Juventus in this game. And I would agree with that.
I think Foot Mob had what's his face, or striker with the higher one because he scored a goal, of course.
For who? What team?
For Juve. I can't think of his name right now.
Not Giroud.
No, I'm thinking of the wrong team there. Starts with a V, and I can't think of it right now. Hold on. Unless it pops up quick. Starts with a V.
A striker?
Is there a striker?
Are you talking about a winger, maybe?
No. Okay, I was thinking of Vlahovic.
Oh, Vlahovic.
It was Chiesa who had a higher. Actually, it wasn't even just Chiesa. Actually, McKinney didn't have
I
that
think
high
that's
of a ranking.
quite unfair.
That ranking.
I would say that's pretty unfair. I think he was one of the better players on the team. I think Chiesa and Vlahovic had some good moments too. So I'd just say he's one of the better players on the field for Juventus. Yeah. He's one of the guys that didn't deserve a fucking F, because I can tell you there's some Fs on this team, and there should have been a lot of Fs. Szczesny's at goalkeeper. Holy fuck, that's a huge mistake. That is a gaff, a GAF F. So,
well, that's definitely a good game for Szczesny on that front.
There was a kid on Sassuolo named Loriente, who was fabulous for most of this game. I can't even believe he's playing for Sassuolo.
He got the A+ for the rankings.
I didn't know that, but I'm telling you, I was impressed by that kid. He blew some shots that you would think, man, if he would have struck that solid fucking Juventus would have lost by even more. But he was outrageously good the whole game. So yeah. Derek say Chesney again? Did I say it wrong? What did I say?
Yeah. You said like Chesney or something like that.
Oh, Chesney. Because he played like shit. Hey, Toljan had a fairly okay game, a pretty good game, pretty solid game. And he's not a guy we talk about. At least we talk about him, and nobody else talks about him. I mean, I think Tack did his show, his review. They didn't say a word about Toljan.
Well, Derek, I feel like you in our show is the only one who talks about Toljan. So
he has an American dad. He's met the family of his dad. He has DNA proof that he's related to this guy. And he's at this point, he's just given up. He doesn't think there's any hope. But remember when he was teammates at Rangers with Weah is when the real conversation started, because Weah and him were going back and forth about, hey, have you ever thought about playing for the American, USA? And Toljan's like, yeah, I have.
So the funny thing is that I had a little, I don't know, back and forth, just like a response to one of the U.S. Twitter handles where they talked about like, oh, it's an L for Berhalter for not picking up Araujo. And I'm like, well, wait a second.
What?
Araujo was part of the youth national teams all the way from U15s up. He played for our Olympic squad. He got called into the national team itself, and he still chose to play for Mexico. That's clearly his choice, not an L for Berhalter. But we're talking about a guy who's playing. What team does Araujo play for now? And I know he's Barcelona, but who do you get loaned out to?
Dude, don't even worry about Araujo. Okay, that's a waste of your fucking time. He's never going to be a Barca player. He will never play a game for Barca. He'll be lucky to be a goddamn Segunda starter. So let's just get over the Araujo thing. I'm an LA Galaxy guy. I watched this guy play tons of games. He is diddly poop. He is not that great. He is a standard, decent fucking MLS player. That's it, and he will never be more. You can write him off. Write him off.
So I guess my point to that would be is we have fans who are sitting there pining over what could have been with Araujo, but we have a right.
What fans? Fans of our show?
Just fans on Twitter, just USMNT national team fans.
Back to this then. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, my point is that we have a viable right back that's consistently played in Serie A for the last 2, maybe 3 seasons now, 2 seasons.
Right
and
back?
we haven't even given him a call. Yeah, Toljan.
Oh, Toljan, yeah.
We haven't even given him a call up yet.
We got Dest.
No, but why are we pining over a guy who's bottom of La Liga or wherever
Las Palmas?
Why are we pining over somebody like that when we have a viable contender who's actually playing week in, week out for a Serie A team? So
yeah, well, I don't know.
I don't know
if he's ever gotten a call. I don't know. Listen, did Jeremy Toljan impress me in this game? No, he did not. He was a standard, average, reliable right center back in Serie A on a Serie A team that's probably going to finish mid-table or lower. There you go.
Sure, yeah.
He's not great, but he's better than fucking goddamn Araujo. I can tell you that much right now. And, if Mexico was so desperate, they got to play some Segunda player in the coming games.
Apparently, Palmas is in La Liga.
I haven't even looked. Does he play? Hey, BMR, let us know.
4 straight games.
Okay.
Started 4 straight games.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens then. We'll give him some time. All right. We'll give him some breathing room.
He's young. He has a chance to still succeed. But to your point, what you're saying, he's not going to be a Barcelona starter.
No, he's never going to play for Barcelona. And from what we saw from him playing for Mexico since he's played on the Mexican national team has been nothing but less than impressive. Less than impressive.
Same could be said about his USMNT national team play too.
Correct. And his LA Galaxy career, which was less than impressive because we were told how great this player was, and he wasn't that great. I mean, I never saw great. It's like the Twinkie fucking eater that we have on our team too. What's his fucking place from Alvarez? Efren Alvarez for Mexico. He'll never play for Mexico. He'll never play for Mexico. And he would never have had any chance of playing for us either. Like, we get all worked up about some of these players. They're not that good. They're just not good. I'm an LA Galaxy fan. I can tell you that neither of those players blew my balls off while they played for LA Galaxy so far for Efren and ever for Araujo. Never. They never impressed me as like, that's a Barcelona player or that's a fucking national team player. Never occurred to me. All right. We are getting down the list here. Luca De La Torre could have been a goddamn fucking hero because he played so goddamn great for Celta de Vigo against Barcelona. He was a goddamn star in that game. He was fabulous. But then he had a sitter. Like, he got the assist that put them up. And they were up 2-0 with 10 minutes to go. And I was thinking, hell yeah, this is all wrapped up. And then in 8 minutes, goddamn Barcelona scores 3 fucking goals. And Celta Vigo have no one to blame but themselves for not packing it in more, packing it in tighter, and parking the bus in a solid way. They failed at that. And then, of course, Luca De La Torre could have made it 3-0 when he totally blew that sitter. Or 3-1. I think it's 3-0 would have been at that time. And he kicked it over the bar. I'm sure he's kicking himself, but boy, does he deserve to be listed as one of the best players on his team. One of the standouts of the game and one of the best players on his team. Not the best player on his team, but certainly one of the standouts of the game. I would give him an A-, but since he fucking missed that sitter, I'm going to have to say it's a B+.
Yeah, that's fair.
He made a positive difference.
Man,
for sure.
how do you go 80 minutes plus holding Barcelona to a 2-0 deficit just to give it all up at the end?
And that dropped Celta all the way down to the bottom of the table, right above relegation again. So they're right back where they left off last season. It's annoying.
In that defense, though, that 1 point would have just literally, been 1 point difference. So I mean, it's not a massive. Now, mind you, 3 points would have been massive, yes. But
yes,
if Luca De La Torre had scored that goal and made it 3-0 or 3-1 or whatever the fuck it was at the time,
would have put him
still
up
only got the 1
spots.
point, it wouldn't have made that massive. But the 3 points would have been massive.
Massive, yeah, would have been. Koleosho went 90, by the way, for Burnley versus Man U. And watching him, he's got some Rutter characteristics to the way he plays, except he's faster than Rutter. I just think he's got a long way to go before we start getting sweaty balls for this guy. I mean, we want to keep an eye on him. We do want to give him a phone call. We want to make sure he knows we care. But I wouldn't be dying yet to bring this kid in.
Would you call him over Brendan Aronson?
Yes.
Would you call him over Zendejas?
Oh, for sure.
Then he's got a spot on the team, Derek.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that like he needs to be brought in like Balogun and be an automatic starter. He doesn't need.
I agree. I don't think he's going to usurp Weah or Pulisic.
No, I don't think so yet.
So
he's just getting going. Give this kid some time. And people are like, "Oh, Canada, they're going to take him from us." Canada, you don't want to play for Canada. Who wants to play for Canada? Seriously,
do you want to play? Do you want to come play for us? And then U.S. is going, I've got a bag of peanuts. Just anything's going to be more persuasive than playing for Canada at this point.
They've got no money in Canada. None of the billionaires that live in Canada want to fund the Canadian Federation. None of them want to give them $5 million. They go beg FIFA for $5 million.
So I know Italy's the other team, but doesn't he have a fourth team that he could play for?
I don't think so. I think those are the three.
Those are the three. So yeah, I guess if Canada comes in knocking and you're looking, you're like, hey, I'm starting in the Premiership right now, and then US isn't knocking at that point, then you're sitting there going like, I'm just going to wait for Italy to call, I guess.
Yeah, but Italy's probably maybe going to stick with the U21 call-ups, U23 call-ups. I don't think he's going to be.
BMR is a cornucopia of knowledge.
I did not read that in his bio that he was also qualified for Nigeria. It's very possible, though. So I think his grandparents are Nigerian for sure. I don't know about his parents. So that would qualify him for Nigeria, wouldn't it? Yes, grandparents count. So BMR, you're probably right. So 4. I don't know why you go to Nigeria either, because the travel during like for matches in
He's
Africa.
eligible for United States, Canada, Nigeria, and Italy.
Okay.
He was born and raised in the United States to a Nigerian father and Italian-Canadian mother.
Okay. Jesus, what a mix. So yeah, I guess Nigeria has a lot of great players too that he'd have to win a spot. Italy, same thing. That's a battle to get a spot. I think if you're looking at a nice in between, if you're Koleosho, you're thinking, well, Canada, fuck Canada. Who wants to play for Canada? US? Yeah, that sounds good. Like I could fight for a spot there. I don't know if I beat Weah out now, but I might beat him later. Or, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Rotation of players and subs. I mean, stuff happens. Plus injuries. It's always available.
I mean, the state of the Canadian Federation is just so bad. It's just so bad.
I was going to mention a certain player injury stats, and I don't want to jinx the person.
Oh,
so, I'm going to refrain from making that comment.
All right, good for you. All right, and then we had Vines is injured, Booth is injured, Pepe.
One Booth is injured.
Yeah, I don't even know who the other Booth plays for. I'll just be honest with you.
Some Dutch team.
Yeah, I didn't even look. Pepe, 20 minutes and a goal and a win for PSV. Des got 84. Tillman was disciplined for being late, oversleeping.
My alarm didn't go off. I make that excuse all the time.
Yep. So he didn't make the team bus, and so he was late and he overslept, and so he was disciplined and didn't even make the 18. Mm-hmm. I would say that Des is looking so good in Holland right now. I just think that's the player we all expected, the kind of confident player we all expected.
He's back to being comfortable.
Yeah.
He's with a team that wants to play him. So, yeah, this was a great move for him.
Yep.
But this was still a loan, correct? They didn't downright buy him.
Oh, Brad, don't hit me with that. I don't remember.
Yeah, like he could be back at Barcelona at the end of this year, if I recall correctly. But maybe they bought him out. I'm not sure.
I thought it was a buy.
So by the time I look it up, somebody's gonna have it in the chat.
It was a buy.
I'll pull it up, but I thought it was
because they were willing to cut him from the team and take no money.
There was loan with option to buy.
Yeah, it's gonna be buy eventually. Then, God, I can't remember that. I do know the talk was they were just gonna cut him loose and say fuck it. So
yeah, but that didn't make any sense, anyways.
No, it never did. Never made any sense.
You had 2 years on his contract still, and I'm sure somebody would pay something.
Right.
Like, you know what? Just go. You're a free agent. Go find somebody who wants to play you.
As for Pepe, great goal.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to see him continue to get 20 minutes like this, frankly. Mendes, Vizela, got a goal and an assist in a tie for Vizela, so he's back. He's back. Sebastian Soto did not dress for Klagenfurt.
What?
Yeah, by the way, there is a team in Belarus named Slutsk. It's basically the word sluts with a K at the end. Slutsk. Slutsk. Like, i.e., I had a bunch of sluts in my apartment last night until at least 5 a.m.
Had some loose slots, right?
Right. Can I go pee real quick? Can you hold on to the show for 2 minutes?
Sure, Derek. Why not?
All right. Here's the discussion for you while I'm gone. Julian Green, should he be called up? Because he did get an assist this weekend, but he got a red card in the 55th minute. They still won. First still won. But why is nobody talking about Maximilian Dietz? Max Dietz, who went 90 in that win as well as a center back for Green. Like, again, in all the reports I read, like nobody even talks like Max Dietz exists. He's starting as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old in the back three for frickin' Further Groyth. He's playing good. Shouldn't he be an Olympic kind of guy we're talking about for the Olympic team? Anyhow, I'll be right back. Let's see what Brett thinks. See you in 2 minutes.
Well, personally, I think, Green should get a look at some point. Why not? He's playing well with his team. We've got open spots from injuries and just various opportunities like that, but I'm not saying he's going to be a contender by any means. As far as Max is concerned, we're finding this with Green. We found this with Tillman. Wow, insanely fast, Derek.
I skipped the pee and just grabbed another ginger
Holy
ale.
shnikes. So, yeah. What are you, fucking Flash?
Well, what I decided was let's just drink more and pee later.
Exactly. That's probably the best thing. But yeah, no. So I mean, I think there's absolutely an opportunity for Green to get a look at some point. Why not? As far as Max is concerned, we found this out with Green. We found this out with Tillman. The U.S. men's national team just simply doesn't look at Bundesliga 2. We saw this with Boyd as well.
Well, and then Boyd, shit, he's bench guy now.
Oh yeah, on Boyd of last season.
Sorry, Berliner, but Boyd's a bencher this year.
The age got the better of him. This was my argument last season. I'm like, well, he's killing it right now, but I mean, he's also like 500 years old.
Yep. Johan Gomez, the other Gomez, went 76 in a tie for Braunschweig. That is where liverwurst was invented, I believe, in Germany.
Have we heard about Jonathan yet? We talked about him yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't know what Jonathan did this weekend. I have no clue.
Okay.
Not that I'm like all hot and bothered and worried about it either. Ethan Kohler, 90 minutes for Werder Bremen's U19s. Ethan Kohler, he's a winger. I believe he's a winger. Yes. I think he is. Anyhow, somebody keep an eye out. He might be a midfielder. Fuck, I can't remember. Anyhow, and I got a kid to keep an eye open on. Ethan Kohler, Werder Bremen U19 team. Aiden Harangi for Eintracht Frankfurt's U19 team went 90 as well. Fabian Hertzler, another tie or win, but this time a tie for St. Pauli. He's an American manager, or at least American-born manager in Germany, mostly German.
Real quick before we go to the next person, Jonathan Gomez was on the bench
for
his club.
In
La Liga 2, I forgot who he's playing for now.
Segunda.
Who's he playing with now? Mirandes?
Yeah, you'd have to put it up.
I guess I could do it. I could just do that, Derek.
Yeah, Mirandes. Okay, so he is in Segunda. Yeah.
So he's got just shy of 100 minutes so far this season.
Okay.
Seems
like to me, how old is he now? 20?
19, 20 years? 20.
Yeah, seems like to me he should be starting and playing 90 minutes most of the games. Just me.
Second division, you'd expect. I mean, even Moore got Segunda minutes.
Well, his brother's a starter in Bundesliga too.
Well, they just got recently promoted too, though. He wasn't 3 last season.
Well, he wasn't 3. He was purchased by Braunschweig.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
To the Bundesliga too. All right. Tessman went 67 and was yanked. Busio went the full 90, a 0-0 tie for Venezia. We are moving on to Sunday. We got Gooch for Stoke for 90 minutes in a loss. Leonard Maloney went 90 for Heidenheim in a loss. Yeah, they were overwhelmed. Heidenheim was totally overwhelmed. So I'm not blaming that all on Maloney. Just a bad game in general for the whole Heidenheim team. Paxton Aronson was in the 18 for Eintracht Frankfurt, did not play. Chandler did not even dress. And then here's another new player we can all start paying attention to in Belgium. He got 13 minutes. He's a 21-year-old from Yale University who was signed by St. Truden. He grew up in the Dianza Forest setup, academy setup here in the United States. He's an attacker. He's 6'5" tall. And his name is Kaveh Zahirul-Islam. Kaveh Zahirul-Islam. That's a hard one to say, folks. Anyhow, somebody to keep an eye open because they played against Genk and Mackenzie didn't play. I didn't get to see those 13 minutes, but the fact that this kid was just signed from Yale and is getting minutes, and he's that big and he's that tall, something we'll keep an eye on.
At 6'5", he doesn't even have to worry about jumping up for headers,
especially against some of the shrimps that play in Belgium. Your boy Slanina went 90 for Eupen or depending on where you live. Mihailovic was in the 18 for AZ, and we've already talked to you and told you this. I have for sure. Brett, maybe not as harsh as I have been, but the way Mihailovic has been playing and the way he has played for AZ since he got there, as somebody who's passive and somebody who's saying, you do it, not me. Not somebody who says, you know what, I was a star for fucking Montreal and I'm going to continue to be a star here. Give me the fucking ball and I'm going to dominate when I get it and I'm going to score goals. Because he's put into those opportune situations last season for AZ. And now he's a bench warmer. And even worse than that, he's not a guy you bring off the bench. So I would unfortunately have to say I would not hold out too much hope for Mihailovic for the rest of the season at AZ. Hate saying it. It just doesn't look good. By the way, at the same time, Anthony Fontana, who played for the Philadelphia Union, was in the opposition's lineup roster for that AZ PEC Zwolle game in Netherlands. He didn't get to play at all, but it's weird to see Fontana on the roster list for Zwolle. It's like, I didn't even know he was there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Anthony Fontana plays for a fucking, Dutch team? I didn't know that. Bello did not dress for Lask. He might be injured. I don't know. Terrence Boyd, 5 minutes for Kaiserslautern. I think, as we said, Father Time has crept up on him. Dante Polvara, who scored for Aberdeen in midweek, was benched and rode pine for 90 for Aberdeen. Maurice Malone for Basel got a goal. He was yanked at halftime and they lost. Why they yanked him at halftime? I don't know if he was injured. I don't get it. But anyhow, you would think Maurice Malone would be an everyday starter for Basel unless he's got an injury and play most of the game. Haji Wright went 20 in a 1-1 tie for Coventry. And EPP was in the 18 for Panathinaikos and did not play again. Again, he rode pine for 90 for Panathinaikos. I was hoping this move to Greece would mean he would be an everyday starter, but no. And they lost to AEK in this game, Athens. So maybe next game he gets a look. It's just weird to see him get there in Greece, and we're all thinking, oh, Greece, well, that's fucking that's MLS level or worse. He should do fine. But we're talking one of the best teams in Greece, like AEK, right? So Athens. So he's not starting, and he's not playing. So bad move so far.
Yeah.
Got to fix that.
That seems to be the common course for APP's career.
Yeah.
Bad move, and then he went to Troyes, and it looked good because he was playing there. They get relegated. I mean, even if he was kind of playing bit minutes in Greece, I would have preferred him playing in second Ligue 2 or whatever you would call it. I don't know what two in French is. I never took French, so.
Un, deux, trois,
so Ligue 2.
Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinco, seis. Yeah, now I'm mixing.
No, you're in Spanish. Yeah, you're mixing it all up now.
I'm all like getting Spanish and French all mixed up because, yeah. Anyhow, so that's it. That is your Yanks Abroad report for the week in detail, in some cases, not in others.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, there's only so much we can bring. Only so many games I can watch. And like I said, what was that? 8 or 9 games I watched this weekend.
It's even with the abundance of time, Derek. That is still phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
and I still played golf on Sunday with my mom and ate lunch with them and watched the Colts game. So there you go. All that fit into the weekend too. And then I was sick this morning. I still went to work, but by lunch I had drainage in the back of the throat. I had a headache.
Sinuses are a bitch, man.
I was feeling nauseous. So I said,
that could be the excess of drainage.
I was like, yeah, I just need to go home. I can't. I'm not going to be any good to anybody today. And then I slept from 1:30 to 6 when I got home. I just slept. I fell asleep on the couch first. Once I was asleep, I'm like, fuck this. I'm taking this to good use. Took it to the bed.
Derek pulled up his weighted blanket, grabbed his hair, and started sucking on his thumb, and he was out for 5 hours.
All right. That's one way to see it. All right. Well, make sure that you like.
Nope. I got one last.
We got one last thing.
Very small, very small topic.
All right. Like transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me. All right.
So it's kind of, it's not really transfer news, but it's kind of related to us joking about the whole
transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news.
So it's playing into that. So I just got tagged in it, so I figured I'll bring it up and it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay.
So I guess hold on, let me pull up the initial.
A lot of fun, man. You've got my balls tingling. All right. According to 90 Minute Football, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham Hotspurs have gained interest in signing Santi Jimenez. Which club do you think would suit him best? Tottenham has been legitimately interested since the summer, but y'all called. Yeah, I don't know.
That guy, that Mexican fan, a liar, basically is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody eventually says you're celebrating rumors.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not gonna work that way. So Diego eventually says, he goes, no offense, but all American soccer fans do is celebrate rumors, LOL. Oh my God, so-and-so is interested in insert player here.
Do we really, though?
And then Chris goes, straight red card, disagrees. Because all we do is like, we pull up these articles like so-and-so is interested, and Derek's like, bullshit.
Yes.
Let me rub this on my dick a little bit.
Exactly. Let me rub this on my dirty fucking sack that hasn't been washed for 2 days, and I've been sweaty playing golf. Like, it's just, we routinely on the show destroy these rumors, and we're going to continue to do them because, listen, we don't need people to get all hot and bothered about stuff they don't need to get hot and bothered. So we're call bullshit out.
Yeah.
And we have, and we've been like 99.9% on most of it. So I can't remember when we got wrong yet. Did we get hey, that's total bullshit?
That was nice. That was nice of you to give us a little bit of wiggle room to get out.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if we got one wrong.
I'm sure there was one person where like, that's bullshit, and they get signed. You're like, no, I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened yet. So,
right, so here's the issue though. BMR says you don't, Derek, but a lot of people do. And then David D says a lot of them casuals do though, Derek, because they see what happens is they see these articles from like ESPN and Goal and shit like that. And they're like, oh, you know what? Barcelona is interested in picking up Jesus Ferreira. You know, like, holy shit, that's awesome. You know,
I would consider.
Yeah, Napoli. There we go. Perfect.
I would consider tagging people who are like that on Twitter as nut guzzlers. Hashtag nut guzzlers. Just from here on out.
That's a brilliant idea, guys. Actually, from now on, moving forward, anytime we have those crazy rumors come up and people are busting a nut for it, what are we doing? Hashtag what?
Just hashtag nut guzzlers.
There you go, guys.
NUT guzzlers. Because listen, if you're that excited by some ridiculous rumor, then you're just a nut guzzler. You're somebody who's out there just ready to feast on some sweaty nutsack, and you don't even know if it's real. You're just ready to just put your mouth around that nutsack and give it a guzzle. You got to stop doing that, people. And we got to start teaching people out there, folks, that they're being nut guzzlers. And I will come to your defense if you put that hashtag on somebody and then they're like, what are you fucking doing, dude? What, you got some problem with me being excited? About you got something about me being excited that Long's going to be signed by West Ham? What's wrong with you? And if they come at you and you do the hashtag, I'll come and defend you with you. You can defend yourself, but I'll come there and back you and hashtag not nut guzzler again. Because honestly, there's just like a lack of reality out there about what some of these players are able to accomplish. Aaron Long was never going to sign for West Ham. It was never happening. All the teams that Ferreira was announced to be interested in having, or they were interested in signing him, were all a lie. And even Ferreira had to come out and say, that's all bullshit. And good for him for at least calling all those rumors out and saying, my agents never talked to any of those people, ever. So there you go.
Well, Derek, all those teams were just keeping tabs on Ferreira or Long, or they're monitoring, as BMR says here. They're they're keeping an eye on them. Like, they're
it's keywords.
Yeah.
I would just put, all right, hashtag nut guzzler. There you go. Because that's what they are. They are people who are just absolutely into every ridiculous rumor with no sensibilities, no rationale, no succinct thinking at all, and that needs to stop.
I just love the transfer rumors or transfer news segment because I know it's going to get a rise out of you every time when we pull it up.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. We have to do the segment, but there's no part of the segments that we do that annoys me more than that one. Hashtag nut guzzler. Exactly, Chuck. From now on, you see a motherfucker getting all excited about Aaron Long going to West Ham, you just put hashtag nut guzzler right under as a reply to him.
Hang on. Let's pull this up real quick. We're going to do this on the fly here.
Okay. Hashtag nut guzzler. So we reap what we sow, I guess, there. And we do what we preach. There we go. Perfect. I will go on and try to do the same thing. All right. Hashtag nut guzzler from here on out for all of these ridiculous rumors. That's it. That's what we do to them. They won't understand it at first when they're like 50 hashtag nut guzzlers on these rumor things. But they'll get it. They'll get it after a while. They'll figure it out. And we'll explain it to them if they needed to explain it to them. We'll be happy to do that.
Just crop out Derek's rant earlier and just post that.
There you go. You could do that. Okay. This is a great show. It was a lot of fun. It went a lot longer than I thought we had material for, honestly. But we say that every time. I want to thank you for liking, subscribing. Make sure you like. If you've been here for whatever hours it's been, like the show. Subscribe to the show. If you certainly haven't subscribed to the show, do that for sure, because we need those. Those are important. And then even if you want to make comments down on YouTube that are absolutely ridiculous and have nothing to do with the show, go ahead and do that, because every comment counts, right?
Well, and yes, on top of that, we might pull up one of those topics like we did today.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
I got the notification. I saw that and I'm like, hey, you know what? This is going to make a great topic today. I thought this was going to be a short show, but let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Mm-hmm. I like that. That was, and actually is a very insightful question, because there's a lot of distinctions to be made there, and we made them, hopefully, in our response to your question today. Make sure you do like, share it with your grandma. And of course, one thing I would certainly have recommended many years ago, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, is if you and your stepsister, are hooking up, certainly probably should not watch a lot of Paul Fuck Little videos. That is Max Hardcore. I think that would be kind of uncomfortable, and because a lot of it is sort of in that genre of, I don't know what you would call that, incestuous. And you need to get away from that, right? Because you're not actually related to each other. So you don't want to dig yourself a hole by watching porn together that's like that. So anyhow, until the next time on the Straight Red Card, if you need any advice from us, you just let us know, right? We're here for you. All right. So we'll be back Thursday. And until then, have a great nut guzzling night.
But she's a trap. She's an unsung novel. Turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's